I mean, again, he doesn't know who Gabriel is, right? Because he didn't come from an Abrahamic faith. The people of Mecca were pagan.
Quran is mentioned, if this book was from other than God, they would have found in it many contradictions.
If a book is without contradictions, that has no bearing on whether it comes from God or not. I've had phone books that are inerrant, but I certainly don't think God gave them.
That we believe without understanding.
The brother asked a very important question, that most of the scholars say that listening to music, watching movies, and most of the television programs, they're haram. So how can we have fun? Let me tell you, brother, at the outset, that having fun is permitted in Islam as long as the fun is halal fun.
That the standard narrative has holes in it.
The Prophet tells us because Satan or the devil sleeps over our nostrils. Those who oversleep and not pray Fajr on time, Satan urinates in their ears.
I really do think Jesus was crucified and that he really was dead and buried. He thought that he was a son of God in the sense that he was specially chosen by God. I think Jesus really did think he was going to be the Messiah, the future king of Israel. I mean, that is, after all, why they crucified him.
Hello everyone, and peace of Christ to all of you. Today our topic is very important. Please invite your friends. And don't forget to download the video, because as you know, we don't keep our videos. And people, they complain. Why? You know why. As you see in the title, is about what can Jesus do and Allah cannot do. In front of me, there is a Muslim website, islamweb.net. And this is where Muslim, they ask the sheikhs, and I think it's sponsored by the terrorist of the Prince of Qatar. Fatwa number 63472. Fatwa mean opinion according to Islam, according to the religion. So those who they have authority, the big sheikhs, they are giving the answer. Someone asked question here. What is the purpose of Allah creating Isa by a word, which is be? And what is the purpose from all the miracles he was given? And do Allah teaching change by time? And is the work that Jesus he did, or Isa did, make Allah work false work? I think what he meant, because supposedly Jesus, according to Muslims, he was not successful. I mean, the Christian today, as you see, according to Muslim, they are not true believers. But what about the messengers he sent, the disciple of Jesus, the messengers, to teach, in his name? And they did miracles too. Isn't it? This is a proof that there is a living God. And here the answer. And I will use Google translation to translate the question and the answer. Here it says, actually, let me use Google translation right away so you can read with me in English better than just in Arabic. Sometimes I keep it in Arabic because the English translation, I just open another page in Arabic, so I will get the correct meaning in case the translation is not good. Let us translate to English. And this is the question, this is the fatwa number, this is the question here. The miracle of Jesus are evidence of the sincerity of his prophethood. Usually the title here present the imams, the scholars' opinion. So this is the answer. This is the summary of the answer, let's say. When they asked Zakir Naik, how come Jesus have all those miracles and we cannot compare him to Muhammad? Zakir Naik, he said, well, do you know what Jesus said? He said there's many false prophets will come and false messiahs, false messiah, and they will come and they will do miracles.
Matthew, chapter number 24, verse number 24 says that, for there shall arise many false Christ and false prophets, and will do wonders and miracles, and if it were possible, shall deceive the very elect. So Jesus Christ, peace be upon him, says miracle is not the test. They shall
be my witness. So miracle is not the test. Jesus Christ said so. Their Muslim website said opposite. The miracle of Jesus are evidence of the sincerity of his prophethood, which means he is truthful. And here it says, we have explained discussing the creation of Jesus with the word be in fatwa number, etc. And by the way, if you go and read the Quran, you will find that this is a very silly statement to say, because Allah did not create Jesus by be, neither Adam. The verse, it says that the similarity of Jesus is the same as Adam. He said to him, be, and he was. But neither Adam in the Quran, neither Jesus created by the word be. In the case of Adam, Allah, he fashioned, he mixed the dirt, and then after he fixed the dirt, he fashioned it as a shape of a man. And then after he shaped it as a shape of a man, like a statue, then he breathed into it. And this is mentioned in many times in the Quran. And this is showing us a contradiction of the Quran, because if we ask the Muslims now, Allah, he said to Adam, be, and he was before he fashioned or after. So look, until now there's no be. So we made clay, which means I mixed dirt with water. This is what a clay is. And then I made a shape. This is number 2. And then after I made the shape, I breathed into him. So this is stage number 3. So when Allah, he said be. If Allah, he said be before those are 3 stages, that means the be of Allah doesn't work. This is stupid. Because why you said be and he was, and you are doing those things. So what those things? And if he say be, after he made those steps, that means this is more stupid, because already he exists. So the Quran is a very silly, stupid book. And when the Muslims, they try to defend their prophet, why he has 0 miracles, you will find that the Muslim, they will come to you, they say, oh, there's miracles. We can show you from the hadith. And, you know, the hadith is obviously, those are fabricated miracles. Why? Because the Quran itself, and the Muslim always, they say to us, anything contradict the Quran, we don't accept, and we should not accept. Well, the Quran says, we refrain from sending miracles to Muhammad. So how Allah, he say we refrain, and remember this is chapter 17, Al-Isra, which the same chapter, you know, if you go in the beginning of the chapter, this is verse number 59, the same chapter is speaking about the what is so-called miracle of Muhammad going to the Father Mosque. So how the same chapter is saying that at night Allah, he took Muhammad in the journey to the Father Mosque, and Muslim, they claim even to heaven, but as you see, the Quran doesn't even say the word Muhammad, doesn't even say where, the Father Mosque. What is that? Next week, next street, next city, next town, where is that? They claim that this is Al-Aqsa, but at that time there was no Aqsa. So it's a fiction story. Even Aisha, she said, he was next to me in his body, and Usriya bi ruhihi, he been taken by his spirit only. It was just a false statement. And then if you go to the here, you will see that Muhammad, the Quran, after this is happening, supposedly, saying clearly that, you know what, Allah, he refrained from sending miracles. So obviously, even the journey, the night journey, is refuted by the same chapter. For Allah, he says, we refrain from sending miracles. So if the journey was as true, and then Allah, after that, 59 verses after, says, we refrain from sending miracles to Muhammad, that will be a clear contradiction. And the Quran said, if this book is made by other than Allah, you will find a clear contradiction. And you see that in the intro, where Mimi Hijab, he says to Borat, the Quran says, if this is a book made by other than Allah, you will find contradiction. And then Borat, he said to him, well, I have a phone book, and in Arabic, and does not have contradiction, but doesn't mean it's made by Allah. So even the stupid book and the same author, he could not maintain his promise that he will not find contradiction. You see, if I am making a book right now, I can be sure that there's no contradiction. I can read it again and again and again to be sure there's no contradiction. But it doesn't make me God. But this God, Allah, he could not even maintain his promise in the same chapter, as you see. This is chapter 17. The first verse in the chapter says Allah, he took him on a journey at night. And the Muslim, they claim he went to seven heaven. And this is a miracle. Now, not all of us will go to heaven and come back. And the same chapter in verse number 59 says, he never went anywhere. And not only that, you know, the hadith exposed Muhammad more. According to Muhammad, he went to a heaven which where is the Euphrates River. And obviously Muhammad is confused. He learned from the Jews that Euphrates, you know, in the Old Testament, speaking about the rivers of heaven. But this was because the Christian and the Jews believed that the garden of Adam was in earth, not in the seventh sky. So the city Muhammad, he heard the Christians and the Jews in their Old Testament, it says certain rivers are rivers of heaven. So Muhammad, he carried them and he put them, he claimed that he saw them when he went there. But the idiot, he forgot that the heaven of the Christians, or sorry, Adam, it's a garden. It was on earth. In Christianity, Adam was not in the sky. In Islam, he was. So Muhammad, he went to the seventh heaven, and then he found the Euphrates River, and he found the Nile River, coming from under the tree of Allah. So obviously, if Muhammad, he went on a journey, he did not go to anywhere except Ethiopia. And he went to the north of Syria or the south of Turkey today. So, you know, a foolish man making a statement, claiming that he went there and he found the rivers of heaven, which is in the sky. And you ask yourself, you know, okay, well, why the heaven of the sky, the Nile River, are in the seven galaxies, yet they are coming down in Ethiopia? I mean, what happened? There's a pipeline? This is all proven to us. You know, who is Muhammad? And just I'm trying to find you more hadith, so you can have more reference and you can laugh more at the fabricator. And as you see here, Muhammad, he took him. And I was raised to the lotus tree. So according to Muhammad, there's a tree. It's called lotus tree. And this is the tree of Allah. Each, the leaves of this tree is so huge, and they are like a ear of an elephant, and they are made of gold. And you can walk underneath of it for like 100 years. Or travel underneath of it. I don't know if by foot or by camel, but he said 100 years. And then he said, I was raised to the lotus tree, and I saw four rivers, two of which are coming out, and two is going in. Those which are coming out were the Nile and Euphrates, and those which going out, were two rivers in paradise. Then I was given trees, 3 balls to, like, you know, a stupid story. But here you ask yourself, did Muhammad really went to heaven if he saw the Nile River and Euphrates? This is a question. I will leave it for the Muslims. But the important for us, the miracles of Muhammad does not appear anywhere in the Quran. As you see, the same, like as an example, the Muslim, they say to you, what about splitting the moon? You go to the moon splitting, you will find nowhere in the Quran it says that there is a miracle, it's called splitting the moon. The Quran say the moon is split asunder, and sign like judgment day is near. Which means Muhammad is a false prophet again. Because he claimed that the moon splitting is a sign of the day of judgment. It doesn't say that Allah he split it. It doesn't say that Muhammad he split it. It doesn't say anyone split it. All what it says, the hour drawn near, and the moon has a cleft as asunder. And this is a false prophecy because, as you see, well, no, you know, you see in Arabic it says, اقتربت. اقتربت in Arabic, here it says, our drone has a drone near. In Arabic, اقتربت is like very close, like almost here. So he made a false prophecy claiming that that's it. This is the sign. But this is obviously was an eclipse. And it even doesn't even say who did this. So Muhammad, he saw something in the sky. And then he will find this story appear in the hadith, claiming that people, they challenged Muhammad to make the moon split. And Muhammad, he made the moon split. He asked his God, and God split the moon. But why the miracle of Jesus appear, all of it in the Quran, is so clear. That Jesus, he can make the blind see. Jesus. But here, nowhere it says Muhammad have a miracle. Not a single verse in the Quran says that Muhammad has a miracle, including this one. And not to forget to mention, chapter 17 and chapter on the moon. Chapter 17 came long after this chapter. To make it simple, if you go and check there's something called Asbab al-Nuzul. Sorry, the Quran according to Revelation. Quran, most of you maybe do not know that according to Muslims, this is not really the Quran how it came. There's Quran according to Revelation, and there's Quran according to Uthman ibn Affan, which means the Muslim, they changed the way the Quran is. So here in front of us, this is a Muslim Muhammadan page. It says revelation order, which means this is the way the order of the Quran came now. It is totally different from the Quran today. So what the revelation number 1, this is the true revelation supposedly, it is in the Quran today as number 96. See the huge difference? So now we have 2 chapters. One is 17, right? And one is the moon chapter 54. So if we check here, where is 17 and where is 54? Let us search and show you with your own eyes. 17 in reality is number 50. Do you see it? Let me zoom in. "17" in reality is number 50. Okay. What about 54? Let us search for 54. The chapter of Al-Qamar is number 37. So do you understand now what happened? So the chapter of the Qamar mentioned the moon splitting, but this is chapter number 37. And chapter 17 is number 50, and this is where it says, we refrain from sending a miracle to Muhammad. So if Muhammad received any miracle, then how in the world, in a chapter came way long after, which is number 50, says Muhammad have 0 miracles. We refrain from giving miracles. Do you understand what I'm saying? It's like, you know, you work in a warehouse, and in your warehouse you say, today we receive 50 tons of cement, and then 6 months after you claim that in this warehouse we never have any cement. So the chapter number 50, which is a chapter of Al-Isra, as we showed you here, in the Quran today it appears as number 17, but in the real Quran appears as number 50. Muhammad, he had 0 miracle. And the Quran confess, according to Muhammad, that Allah, he refrained from sending miracles. He refrained, not he is thinking to do, that's it, I refrain. And we refrain from sending signs only because the men of former generation treated them as false. And he mentioned a funny miracle about she-camel, where the people of Thamud, they asked their prophet to make a rock a camel, and Allah, he made the rock a camel. So Allah, he made the rock a camel for someone but Allah refrained to do any miracle from Muhammad. Chapter number is not equal to the date of the divine. Well, there's no divine anyway. I mean, and the funny is that the Muslim, they say that the Quran says that the one who changed the words from their location is doing corruption. And then we find that it is the Muslims who they are changing words, sentences, verses. The whole chapters is moved, not only verses. Not for sure, we can show you verses. Like as an example where Allah said, today I completed your religion for you, I complete my favor upon you. And this is in chapter 5 in the beginning of the Quran. But this is a verse should be at the end of the Quran. So here it says that those who, the one who do corruption, in chapter 4 verse number 46, in chapter 5 verse number 13, in chapter 5 verse 41, it says clearly the one who changed location of verses or words of Allah, they are doing corruption. And then we discover that the Muslims is the one who did that, not us. Now going back to our topic, the Muslims say the Arabic name for moon is Al-Qamar, not Allah. Well, we can refute that easy, you know, because if you type the word, you know, the words is used in Arabic. You know, Arabic is not really an Arabic. Arabic is a mix, is a collection of languages. But I will show you an example of other name. There is words used for the moon as a moon, and there is word used for the god moon. So as an example, in chapter 2, verse number 185, it says, Shahru Ramadan. Shahru Ramadan. The Muslim translation says the month of Ramadan. The fact the word Shahr mean the moon. And you can open the Hebrew dictionary right now, any one of you, and you can search for the word Shahr, and this is the word Shahr, and you will see it mean the moon. So the one who witnessed the moon of Ramadan, and this is what the pagan people used to do, they believe that Ramadan is a special month, and they used to go, like the Sabian, they start their fasting in the city of Haran, or in that different city, and then they go to welcome the new moon. This is like a, let us say, God he have 12 moons, and each time, each festivity have its own moon. This is why you will see the Quran says Allah he have 12 moons. In chapter 9 verse number 36 it says, verily the number of months is, and this is false translation, the real Arabic word or Hebrew word shahr, which is mean the numbers of moons for Allah are 12 moons. Yeah, don't change topic, guys. I appreciate you if we don't jump from topic to topic, because focus with me. I mean, a Jew hide behind a tree. Who care about now? This is our topic. Focus with me. Otherwise, you are disturbing. You are not helping. I think as an adult, we have a topic. If you make a comment about a topic, I will consider it. If it's not, I might even block you. So the number of the moons of Allah, they are 12 months as 12 moon, and the word shahr is absolutely mean moon, and this is why you see the Muslims said in chapter 2 verse number 185, the Quran says, so whoever of you witness sight, you see, you cannot sight the month, but you can sight the moon, correct? And even the Muslim between their brackets says, sight the crescent of the first night, the crescent. So the moon is not the word shahr present the crescent moon, not just a moon. And there is the word qamar, usually present the full moon. This is why the other verse says, in shaqqa al-qamar, because it was full and it split. Shahr is about the crescent moon. So it is specific word used for a specific look of the moon. And actually we can search right now in Google. I'm typing in Arabic. As usual, like sometimes you type, you think you're done, and then you look at the screen, oops, I was typing in the wrong language. The word shahr, Hebrew. Let us see. Google, give me shahr. I want shahr, not with the not with the A. Let us see here. Okay. Let us see. Let us see. Let us see. Yeah, I found the answer, but I want to open like a official Hebrew. Belim. I don't know what this website is, but we will use it. Maybe it's a Jewish website. It's called Belim. Belim. So the word shahr, as you see here, or sahar, the same word. I mean, like in some languages, depend in the Hebrew or in the Aramaic, sometimes the sin becomes sha as shay, as a pronunciation, but it's the same word. So as you see, it is the moon, you know, and specifically, actually, it's the crescent moon. And this is why here, even Muslim translation, they are saying the crescent moon. They are not just saying the moon. It is the crescent moon. Here, there's a different book. It's called the Medieval Jewish, I don't know. I'm just trying to find a dictionary or something. Yeah. Anyway, you can search yourself and you will find it. So as you see, the Quran, the important for us now today, that the Quran confirmed that Muhammad, he has 0 miracles. However, in the Hadith, Muslim, they claim that he has many. But we see all over the Quran, people asking Muhammad, how come you don't have any sign from your Lord? When Zakir Naik, they ask him, how come Muhammad, I mean, we cannot compare him to the Messiah. Well, he said, well, the Messiah, he says, this is not the test. Because there's many false prophets, they will come, and they will do miracles, you know. But that will be a problem for the Muhammadan. Because the Messiah is talking about anyone who don't agree with Jesus. Even if he do miracles, he is a false prophet. And that will make Muhammad a false prophet. If the Muslim, they will claim that what Jesus' teaching was in total agreement with Muhammad, then they need to explain to us why the Quran in many places says to the Christians, why you are worshiping Jesus, in the same time saying to the Christians, we approve the book between your hands. If I go right now and type here the word, and I will do it in front of you, بين يديهم, you will find the Muslim translation. They try to hide it. بين يديهم mean between their hands, or between, or بين يديه, or بين يديهم. بين يديه here, as you see, it's mean, and this is how Allah He sent supposedly the book, blessing and believing in what is between His hand. And this is a book we send down, blessing and believing what is between His hands. Okay, if we click at the translation, you will see that the word between His hands disappear. There's no between His hands. It says confirming the revelation, and then they add which came before it. But nowhere here it says which came before it. Nowhere it says confirming revelation. It says believing in what is between His hand. And you can use this in Google translation and you will see it. Yadayhi simply mean, the word yadayhi I mean the hands, or two hands. If I go right now to Google translation, I will copy the word in the front of your eyes, and I will take it to Google, peace be upon him. Let us zoom out so you can see right away how the translation works. And we will pause the word. See? Here, we cannot find the word hands. It's gone. We cannot find the word between His hands. It's gone. And this is the case for all those verses. Look how many times. All those verses says, مصدقا لما بين يديه, مصدقا لما بين يديه, لما بين يديه, ما بين أيديهم, etc. here, you know. And actually, here you will see that how they lie. بين أيديهم here, it says what is between their hand. If I click on it, I'm sure they will translate it as what is between their hands. Why? Because this one is not talking about Jesus, so they will give you an honest translation. Let us try. Does it say between his hands? Let us see. He knows the creation behind the compass. Even here they took the between His hand. Where is the? It knows what He knows what is between their hands. I don't see it. He sighs and in sleep. And he okay. Well, where is the between His hands? Even here they took it off. That's really stupid. Huh? Let's change the translator. Maybe that will work. I mean, here they don't have a reason to do it, because this one, it shouldn't be hurting the Muhammadan to give the, the correct answer, right? So why they are changing everything? But anyway, I mean, you can go and try. As an example here, مصدقا لما بين يديه, chapter 2, verse number 97. And this is a new translation. You will see there's nothing between His hands. I don't see it. It says here confirming what came before it, but this is not really what the Quran is saying. And they are adding Torah and Gospel. This is supposedly what it meant. But in Arabic it says confirming or believing in what bit is between His hands, His two hands. If we take it as it is, take it to Google, and again this is chapter 2, verse number 97. We will see here, let us do that. Translation is not accurate. It should be between, بين his, بين يديه, between His hands. So, and you can do the same for all those verses, and you will see all of them, they are continue saying between His hand. As an example, chapter 3, verse number 3, it says, نزل عليك الكتاب بالحق مصدقا لما بين يديه وأنزل التوراة والإنجيل. We take it, we see what it says. You will see it says confirming what came before it, but this is false translation. It says confirm what is between his hand. What is between his hand? So Muhammad himself, he have the Torah and he have the gospel between his hand, not between their hands too. We show you other verses saying between their hands. This time it's between the hand of Muhammad. And if we take again, copy, we go to Google, and this is chapter 3, verse number 3. We put it there. You see it? And this is the Arabic.
لما بين يديه.
And you can go, there's Islam.Quran, something like that. You can move the mouse over the word, and you will hear the same exact word. لما بين يديه. Even here it says to you how to say it, how to pronounce it in Arabic. So obviously the Muhammadan, they do their best trying to hide the truth that the Messiah in the time of Muhammad was worshipped, and Muhammad, he accepted that the Messiah is God. So what happened? How the Messiah was God for Muhammad, and how Muhammad was saying in different places, the Messiah is just a man, he is just a prophet. That it doesn't make sense. Either the Quran, written in different stages, somebody did editing later, or the Quran, written in different stages, but in the time of Muhammad, let's say, and Muhammad is behind it, but Muhammad, he changed his mind. If you go in the Quran, you will see all those verses speaking about confirming what is between his hands. But this is the same person who said that the Christian, they say that the Messiah is Allah. So how the Messiah, he is Allah for the Christians at the time of Muhammad, and how Muhammad, he confirmed what is between their hands. Obviously, this is mean that what is between their hands is simply that the Messiah is God. Now, the Muslims here, they are using Allah because this is the name of their God. In chapter 5, verse number 17, it says that those who say, they became in disbelief, those who say that Allah is the Messiah. And here you notice again that the Muslim, or Muhammad, is making a silly mistake, because we as a Christian, we don't believe that the Messiah is the Father. And if Muhammad is warning the Muslim about Trinity, well, if the Messiah, according to the Christian, is the same as Allah, so who is the third and who is the second? Because now we eliminated two names. If we assume that the word Allah, he presents the Father here. So if the Messiah is Allah and the Messiah is the Father, then who is the second person and who is the third person? You will notice that in different verse, Muhammad, he says that Allah, he told Isa, did you say to your people to worship me and my mother? But that will not solve the problem, because now we know that the second person is Mary. Who is the third person? And this is absolutely false, because no Christian believes that Mary is part of the Trinity. Now, I know some potatoes, they might say to you, oh, the Catholic. No, the Catholic, they don't believe in that. That's stupid lie. The Catholic, the Protestant, the Orthodox believe Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. As simple as that. That is the only divine we believe. One God. So Muhammad is very confused. And then Muhammad, he says something here very stupid. He says, if Allah, he wish to destroy Jesus and his mother. And he mentioned his mother. Why? Because the silly Muhammad, he thinks that we Christians, they consider Mary as part of the Trinity. If he wish to destroy them, he can destroy them. But this is very stupid. Was Mary exist in the time of Muhammad to destroy Mary? And was Jesus in the top of the earth, or he is in heaven according to Muhammad? Are we following? Are you people sleeping or what? I don't even see the text moving. How it says, if Allah if Allah wish, he can destroy Mary and Jesus in the top of the earth. But according to the stupid Muhammad, Jesus is in heaven, not in the earth, and Mary is dead. So destroying who exactly? I remember I was like maybe 12 years old when there is a sheikh. He come to ask my dad a favor, and I came to him, and I have the Quran in my hand, and I told him, I have a question, you know. He said, oh, you again, troublemaker boy. What this time? What? You know, he's a nice guy. Troublemaker. What? Yeah, show me. You know. And then he got his glasses. He's old. He got his glasses and he did read it. And he said, yeah, what is the problem with it? I said, where is Jesus now? He said, he's in heaven, my son. I said, okay, where is Mary in the time of Prophet Muhammad was? He said, she was dead. So I said, so how he is going to destroy them in earth if both of them, they are not there? He looked at me like he took like a 30-second you know, silence, and then he said to my dad, okay, I think it's time to go. You know, please let me know what will happen, and you know, I will. Okay, what the heck? He did not answer. Second time he came. I came to him, you know. He did not answer too. He said, I asked you last time. I called him uncle, actually, because, you know, like in the Middle East, you have to be polite, and you call all people uncle. So I said, uncle, you did not answer me. He said, my son, those topics are too big for you. It's too big. This is hard for you. It said, just give me any answer you want. Don't worry. You know, you know. And he said, this is a question. You are the one who told me that you are the one. He said, like, I was alone with him. My dad was not there. So he said to me, this is the question you made? You are really asking the question, or somebody asked you to ask me? Huh? I said, no, I am me, you know. He looked at me like, what? He's expecting that somebody, he asked me to ask the question. Like, this is not the question of a kid. But this is how silly, how stupid this Quran is. And how that will prove that Jesus is not God if you don't do it. I mean, I can say to you now, if Allah is God, well, if Jesus wish, he can destroy him. He can destroy Allah. What does that really prove? I mean, talk is cheap, right? I can say exactly the same sentence to the Muhammadan. I can say, well, if the Messiah he want, he can destroy your Allah, he can destroy the Kaaba, he can destroy, but he did not. But what make it more stupid, that neither the Messiah is in the earth, and neither Mary is there. And Mary, supposedly, according to Islam by that time, is dust. 600 years after Jesus. So Allah will, the word yuhlik here, you know, yuhlik, from coming from the word halaka, which means he died. He will cause them to die. So the one who made the Quran, he is a very silly, his IQ is so low, is so stupid. But the problem that when most of people, they read, they don't really read deeply. If you read the verse after it, you will see how even Muhammad getting more silly. He says, both the Jews and the Christian, they say, we are the children of Allah. For sure, they are not saying that. We are children of God. And his beloved ones say, why then he punish you for your sins? Aren't you human like the rest? So the silly Muhammad, obviously, he is mental. He know nothing about Christianity and Judaism. And he thought that when the Christians, they say, well, children of God, they mean they are the same as Jesus. So he's questioning them. Aren't you a human? But what does this have to do with the Christian and Jews saying? The Jews, they say, we are beloved by God, and we are his children. That doesn't mean that he's their real father, like a biological father. The silly Muhammad, because he is a low IQ, shallow in the knowledge, false prophet, mentally ill person, he think that they are claiming to be children of God, but he's asking them, but you are a human, aren't you? And this is telling us that the one who made these verses is a stupid mental person, cannot be God. Going back to our miracles, when Jesus here resurrect people from death, the Muslim, they claim, well, Allah, he gave him that power. Prove it. Here we go. Allah, he claimed that he will destroy Jesus and his mother, but Jesus, his mother was already dead, and Jesus in heaven, not in the earth. And the Quran say clearly, in the earth, from the top of the earth. So in order for this verse to be true, it have to be happening in the time of Jesus, while Jesus is alive in the earth and Mary is alive in the earth. But this is here saying, surely disbelieve those who say that Allah is the Messiah. If Allah want to destroy them, he will destroy them from the top of the earth, which means they are still alive, which means they are still in the top of this earth, and that will destroy all the statement of Muhammad. So when we ask, the title here says, can Allah make the blind see? The answer is no. If you remember, there's a chapter that's called Abasa. Abasa wa tawalla. A blind man, he came to Muhammad. What Muhammad did to him, you can open any interpretation you want. Any Islamic interpretation. You will see that Muhammad, he gave him a face. He kicked him out of his house because he was speaking to the rich people of Quraysh, which means the tribe of Muhammad. The man is coming to ask questions. He never asked Muhammad to make a miracle. Why? Anyone think about it. Why the blind man, when he saw Jesus, as we see in John 9, he said to him, Lord, I want to see. I mean, what kind of request is that? A blind man is begging for food, maybe, for some money, maybe, for shelter, maybe, for some mercy. He's asking to see. He's not asking for a sandwich. The reason the blind man is asking Jesus, because Jesus known that nothing is impossible for him. The blind man is not asking Muhammad for a miracle because he is known that he is nobody. And obviously, if Muhammad cannot do it, that means his God cannot do it. So look what happened when the blind man came to Jesus in John chapter 9. Let us open it. Give me a second. And he passed, he saw a blind man from his mother wombs, which means he is by birth. And they asked him, they were asking Jesus, our master, our Lord, who is the one who sinned because of his parents to cause him to be blind? Yeshua, he said to them, well, he had not sinned, nor his parents. Which means his blindness is not really the reason for sin. And actually, you will notice in the hadith, Muslim, they have exactly the same quotation. about Muhammad saying that, copying Jesus. He had not sinned, nor his parents, and then it was fitting for I do the work, etc. And then you will see that Jesus, he made the blind see. And there's a story reported in different places too. You know, like obviously Jesus, he did a lot of miracles, many blind men, many disabled, endless number of miracles. When the blind man came to Muhammad, he did not ask him to see. He was not requesting him to do anything. He was just trying to ask questions about Islam. Even that, Muhammad, he could not do to the blind man. He gave him a face. If you go here, chapter 80, verse number 1, and as you see, we show you Muslim interpretation, so nobody can say we are making things up. And this is the book of Asbab al-Nuzul, which means the reason for the verse to come down, approved by Muslims. It says here, he thought he turned away because the blind man came into him. Chapter 80, verse number 1 2, referred to Ibn Maktoum. Later we went to see the Prophet, Allah bless him, and gave him peace while the letter was meeting Utbah, Ibn Rabi'a, and Abu Jahl. So he was waiting, you know, important people of Quraysh. And actually, even here it says that those are the rich people of Quraysh. They are the highest. So he was calling upon them to accept Allah, hoping that they might embrace Islam. All right? Ibn Maktoum, he stood up and he asked the Prophet a question. He said, Prophet of Allah, teach me. That's all. He did not ask him to make him see or anything. Teach me, please, what Allah here has taught you. And he kept requesting that, repeating the request, not knowing that he is busy dealing with someone else. But that does not make really sense, because a blind man, he can hear if he cannot see, right? So already he knew that there's people there, they are speaking to him. But you will notice here that the hadith saying, or the story here says, that Muhammad, he was afraid. Read carefully with me. He gave a sign of annoyance, appeared in the face of the Messenger of Allah. Allah pleased with him and give him peace, because he is being repeating, interrupted. And he said to himself, those are the chief. They will say his followers consist of only the blind, lonely people and slaves. Do you see the hypocrite? He was afraid that the chiefs, the rich one, they will say, look, who is the one who believe in him. This is the one who believe in him. Do you see how low Muhammad is? He cared for the richness. He cared for the position. He don't care for the blind man. And then they themselves, the Arab, who they witnessed this, they start talking about him. They said, well, a blind man, he came to him and he made fun of him. He kicked him out. How he can be a prophet? So Muhammad, he did not, you know, think about it, that this would be stupid from him too, to be rude to a blind man, where everybody help a blind man. I mean, your heart will be broken to see a blind man need help and you don't help him. So what's wrong if he's a blind man and if he is a poor person and he is coming and he's a believer? What's wrong with that? Because he cared for the rich, he don't care for the poor. So he get in face, and then people, they start talking about him. So Muhammad, he made a verse saying, Allah told me, why you did that to the blind man? Right? Look what this guy is saying. I mean, go and watch Sheikh Uthman read the Arabic and let us see. And what about you call me and let us read Arabic together? And the one who don't know how to read Arabic, people will laugh at him. Do you dare? You do not know how to read Arabic. And by the potato, isn't it your prophet you do not know how to read Arabic? This is how stupid this religion is. Let us say, for the sake of argument, nobody here speak Arabic. Nobody here understand Arabic. Nobody can read Arabic. So how you stupid, you follow a prophet to teach you the book of God, which he himself cannot read? This is exactly what happened to Muhammad with the blind man. It was backfiring. The Muslim, they make a comment to put me down, and their comment backfire on them because they are low IQ. So if you are saying the one who do not even know how to read Arabic is bad, is stupid, you just labeled your prophet, not me. Secondly, call me right now and I will see who is the one who speak Arabic or not. Arabic is my first language. What is my first? Why my English is funny then? There's like, well, you have to be strong in one language and bad in one language. So why my language is English? So what is my English then? German? Silly, stupid people. They didn't know how to refute you. You are Arabic, your prophet, you don't even know how to read his name. If we write the word donkey and the word Muhammad next to each other and we say Muhammad, which one is the one? He will not. He will say, Allah knows best. So look who is talking about knowing Arabic. And if you want, you can call me and let us see who knows Arabic, who don't. We can open the same page in Arabic, the same one we are reading. And I will ask you, I will read, you tell me which lines to read, like read 4 lines, you tell me from where, like you said to me, you start reading from here, you know, tell me where, I will read in speed of light. And then you will read after me, anything you want, in the same page. Do you dare? You don't, you're a potato. I mean, the most silly argument that Christian friends do not know Arabic. So what I'm reading all this time here, actually, as long you mentioned to me reading Arabic, in this website, the one we mentioned in the fatwa, they have a poetry. And here you see that this poetry is made by a donkey. It says here, عجبا للمسيح بين النصارى وإلى أي والد نسبوه. Translation, I'm really wondering about the Messiah of the Christians. To which father they made him belong to. أسلموه إلى اليهود وقالوا, they gave him to the Jews and they said, إنهم بعد قتله صلبوه. And here you see the stupidity, the low IQ. بعد قتله صلبوه. The Christian, they say that the Jews, after they killed him, they crucified him. This is what the Christian, they say. Who is the one who wrote this poetry? A donkey. Because this is not what we believe. And here he says, فإذا كان ما يقولون حقا وصحيحا فأين كان أبوه? And if this is true, and this is what happened, where was his father? And here again, this will backfiring. You're stupid. So if Jesus is the son of the Father, then his father should save him. That means Jesus must be God in Islam. Because in Islam, God saved him. And if I make a poetry to respond to this, I will say in Arabic maybe, أي حمار أتى بشعر وعندهم على الحائط علقوه حمار كتبه فيل نشره وذئب أكله وهم لا يفقهون. This stupidity. None of us will believe that they killed him and then they crucified him. And this is the Google translation. They handed him over to the Jews, but we did not hand him over to the Jews. And after killing him, they crucified him. This is what the Christian believe. Even the stupid Muhammad in the Quran did not say that. The stupid Quran says, we crucified Jesus and we killed him. We crucified him, you know, we killed, you know. Actually, hold on. Because I think this guy, he is confused because of his stupid book. Look what the stupid Quran says. And their statement, we killed the Messiah, the son of Mary. They killed him not, nor crucified him. But the donkey, maybe because the Quran saying the word killed him first, and the word crucify next, he thought that the Christian, they think that the Jews, they killed Jesus first, and then they crucified him. حمار يغني وجمل يهني ورسول في بنطاله صني. I just said that a donkey he sing. Anyway, the Arab, they knew what I said. So you see here, the Muslim, they asked one Zakir Naik, why Jesus he have miracles? I don't know which video. He said, sister, brother and sister, at the time of Jesus, there was a lot of advanced medical. This is why Jesus beat upon him. He was given miracle have to do with medicine. What medicine? What Jesus giving aspirin? What medicine? And in the time of Jesus, medicine was advanced. And Muhammad came 600 years after. It was not advanced. I mean, do you see how they try to explain the stupidity? Their low IQ. They can't explain why Jesus, he can raise people from death. He can make the blind see. He can walk in the water. He can feed thousands. He is in heaven right now. They cannot explain that. So they say in the time of Jesus, medicine or medical was advanced. But they forgot that Muhammad, he came 600 years after. Imagine 600 years before now, that medical was more advanced than now. And the miracle of Jesus have nothing to do with medicine anyway. As you see, like when Jesus, he made the guy, see, he did not give him medicine. He said to him, take it 3 times a day. Oh boy. When I say stupidity is amazing, I have my reasoning. Anyway, I think we have a good time today. Later we will publish another video, just short video in the other channel. So those who do not know that we are here for now, they will know in the Christian Prince channel. So they will join us, because until now we have, like, I don't know why, a very low number of view. Don't forget to download the videos. As you know, I don't keep my videos. Download them, share them, re-upload them, and take reference always, because always reference is what make you knowledgeable. And later when you need them, they are like gold, actually more than gold, because those can change life of people, literally. Did Muhammad or the Quran say the book are corrupt? Which book? You mean our books? You see, when the Muslim actually, they say our books are corrupt, then you need to question the IQ of the one who say that. Why? Because how come the Quran says that we are the people of the book if the book is corrupt? You know what I mean? If our book is corrupt, then all those statements, you see those in yellow, all of this, it says people of the book, people of the book, people of the book, people of the book. I mean, this guy, he have a machine. People of the book, people of the book, people of the book. Non-stop. People of the book, people of the book, all over the Quran. So how we don't have a book and we are called the people of the book? If our book is corrupt, then we are not people of the book. And you will notice that Muhammad and his people, they are not people of the book. Do you notice that? Only Christian and Jews labeled in the Quran as people of the book. Imagine you say, like, okay, Sam Shamoun, one day he used to have hair. He used to have hair, maybe when he was 10 years old. And now you say the guy with the hair, I mean, the guy, he lost his hair a century ago. So either we are people of the book, or we are not. And the funny, they say to you that the Quran is made in a very powerful, you know. very powerful book in the language. And this is why the Arab, they laugh at the Quran actually. And they laugh at the stories of Muhammad. As an example, the Muslim, they say to you that, you know, the Arab were amazing, brother. Amazed with the Quran, you know. Okay. So why they say that? Why they say this to Muhammad? If they are amazed, why they keep saying this is fiction stories, this is fairy tale stories? Those stories, we know them from the previous generation. Huh? Each time you read the Quran for them, they laugh at him. And look at that, look, just to show you another stupid verse of the Quran. Chapter 6, verse number 25. This one is hilarious. And then there are some who listen to you, but we have set the veils on their heart, so they understand not. Question, Muslims, why? Why Allah doing that? The poor Muhammad, he go to recite the Quran for them so they might believe. Allah, he set a veil in their heart. Why? So Muhammad, he sent people, Allah, he sent his prophet Muhammad to speak to those people, and then when he go there, it doesn't work. Muhammad, you want to explain why nobody is believing in his stupidity. So I said, okay, well, you know what? Allah, he set veil in their heart, okay? So why he sent you there to them? And why you blame them? If you are the one who sealed their eyes and they're here, why you are blaming them? Why you are saying they are bad? And then they said to him, well, this is what? The fabulous or the fairy tales of the old man. This is a story you tell us, you idiot. This are just like Zulqarnain, he went, he found people who have no cover on them. They asked him to build a dam between them and Gog and Magog. You know, all the stories. All those stories. It's a fairy tale. Prophet Al-Khadr, Mr. Green. Why he was called Mr. Green, Prophet Muhammad? Muhammad, he is the smart boy. He says, okay, because he drank from the water of the life. Like, what the heck? He found the fountain of youth. He found the fountain of... Are you sure? Let us find you the story so the Muslim, they will not say. Okay, where is the story? Yeah. It turned to be that the Pirate of the Caribbean movie is coming from there. Oh, this is a story, but I want to find the specific hadith here. Okay, here we go. I want to give you this hadith as a homework. And when somebody, he says to you, and by the way, this is a very authentic hadith. This is Sahih Bukhari. Yeah, there's a reason he was called the Green, because Mr. Al-Khadr, when he sat in the grass, even if the grass is dry, dead, the grass will turn green, because he drank from the fountain of youth, and looked like he is not wearing a panty, so he sweat, and his sweat looked like he regenerate, you know, that's it. He drank the water of youth, and that's it. Like he became the fountain himself. So this guy, he was in the time of Muhammad, he was in the time of Moses, he was in the time of Noah, he was in the time of Jesus, he was in the time of the funeral of Harun, which have 40,000 person, their name is Aaron. Can you believe it? That the funeral of Aaron, the one who attended, is 40,000 people. All of them, all the men, their name is Aaron. True story, brother. There's nobody in the world. The Jews, they call everybody Aaron. 40,000 people, all of them, they are Aaron. Yes, brother. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. And here you will see I mean, let me post the link for you so later you can read it. Take your time if you want to laugh, if you want to show people some stupid stories. And this is the one the Muslim, they say he is a prophet of God. So anyway, they stop beside the water, okay? And let us see where it says, just to be sure that this is the hadith we are talking about. Okay, maybe this is not the exact hadith we want. Let us see a different one. Yeah, I think this is a different one. Hold on. But I mean, even the one we gave you, it's funny. But let's see if we can find even something better. Here we go. So here you will see that when Moses and his servant, they arrived to the place where Allah, he told them to go to meet, to find Mr. Green. Allah, he told them a sign that when your whale go missing, this is where you should find him. So they stopped near a spring of water called Al-Hayat. Al-Hayat means the life. The life. The spring of water called the life. And none come in touch with its water, but become alive. What the heck? Who want to have a bottle of this water? We will make an auction today. I am an Arab. I know where it is located. I can take you there. Each time you know, actually you will not die. You take one drink of it, like one drop, like a Prophet al-Qadr, and you will be alive in the time of Moses, in the time of Jesus. I mean, Judgment Day. You pass Judgment Day. Even God maybe cannot kill you because that's it. You drink from the fountain of youth, and you will be always young, brother. Remember that. Women, they would love this, man. Unbelievable. I will make a lot of money if I can get this water. I forgot where is the location. You know, I remember my dad, he knew where. But my dad, he forgot too. My grandfather, he knew where. But he forgot too. But my grandfather, he knew where. But I guess he forgot too. All of this because, you know, women in the Middle East, they are very aggressive. And when you fight with them, they use their high heels. So what do you expect? So they sit next to a spring of water called Al-Hayat. And who is talking? Prophet of Allah. Telling the story to the Muhammadan. Now the Muslim, they will say to you, this is not the Prophet saying that, you know. This is Ibn Abbas. Ibn Abbas. He's quoting his Prophet. Where Ibn Abbas, he will say, and look, because this one, once I was debating a sheikh, he says to me, Christian Prince, I got you busted. Read with me. It says, Ibn Abbas, he said, Ibn Abbas, he claimed blah, 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 blah. Okay, hold on. I said to him, Sheikh, a potato, go up to the top, it says, the statement of Allah, the Most High, say, O Muhammad. Shall we? Who is the one who explained it? And where Ibn Abbas will know those stories, you know, your Prophet, he told them. And if you go to different hadith too, you know, you will see the story getting more complicated. And Muhammad, he don't even... This guy, he know everything. He's a doctor. He is in astronomy good. He is good in biology. I mean, this is a Prophet Muhammad, brother. Come on. You know, Prophet Muhammad, you know, and forget, he is the best and forget about the rest. You know? Yeah. So, he, you know, he told them the story of Al-Khadr. And then this fish or this whale went inside the ocean. And how is that happen? I don't know. She can walk. I mean, they are not next to the ocean, but she walked all the way to the ocean. And then when she walked in the ocean or this whale, she made a tunnel. Look, 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 look. The fish, she jumped in the water. And wherever the fish go, the water will not close. We became like a tube. You know what I'm saying? Like the fish is swimming in the water. From the point she jumped, in the beach. Moses and his friend, they walk in that tube. It's like a pipe. So they will keep going, they keep going, they keep going inside the tube, inside the ocean. Read carefully. I did forget indeed about the fish, etc. And this is the Quran 1863. Okay, and then it says, they came back retracting their steps, and they found in the sea the way to the fish looking like a tunnel. So there was astonishing event of his attendant, and there was a tunnel for the fish. When they reached the rock, they took the tunnel inside the sea, brother. When they reach the, they keep going, they reach a rock. Okay? They found a man covered with garment. Moses, he said to him, Assalamu alaikum. The guy, he said, if there's any such a greeting in your land, Moses, he said, well, Habibi, I'm Moses, Habibi. The man, he said to him, Moses, from the children of Israel? Look how Moses was famous. I mean, this guy in Bahrain, you know what Bahrain is? And Moses is just his name. Moses. He did not say, I'm a prophet. Moses, Moses, that's it. The guy right away said to him, oh, wow, you are Moshe from the Israeli Moshe, huh? Are you? Huh? The Moshe, he said, yes, it's me. He held his tie, like, proud about himself, like, finally, I'm being recognized. So Musa said yes, and added, may I follow you so that you teach me something? Look, Moses, why Moses says that? Because Moses, he was telling his friends that he is the most knowledgeable about God. And Allah told him, don't be stupid, there's more knowledgeable. So Allah, he sent him here to learn. I mean, the story go in chapter 18, verse number 66, as you see. But, I'm really happy that Moses was, I mean, at that time, the Jews, they don't own TV stations or anything. How in the world they were able to reach all the way to Bahrain? That's really good. I mean, you just say, and the guy, there's a rock in the middle of the ocean. And yet this guy, he knew Moses, but he did not know how he looked like. I mean, how you know Moses, we don't know how he looked like. And how come this guy is so knowledgeable, but he could not recognize Moses? Anyway, Moses, Moses in Islam is a very weird person. Especially, and I don't like really what he does. Especially when he ran after the rock. When the rock, she stole his clothes. And Allah wanted to prove that the testicles of Moses, they are beautiful. Because Moses always, he's weird really. He don't like to take shower with men, which is really weird. Muhammad, he love it. So Allah wanted to prove that Moses have a nice penis. The Jews, they accuse him that he have a sexual disease. Shame on them, I mean, how Moses is going to have sexual disease if he always use condoms? I have no idea. Isn't you Muslim, you say prayer of Allah, and then Allah will protect you from the shaitan, and this is the condom of Allah? Okay. So look what happened here. It says here, among the tradition of narrated from Muhammad, the messenger of Allah, this is a story made from Muhammad directly. So take it seriously. Muhammad never lied, you know that. In the authority of Abu Hurairah, authority. And what his name? Abu Hurairah, the father of the cats. Nice to meet you, man. How many kids you have? That one of Bani Israel used to take a bath naked. One of them, he used to take bath naked. I thought all people, they take bath naked. He take bath naked. I mean, is that really acceptable? Since when people, they take bath naked? My shower is very fast. So my mother, she used to ask me, did you even take your clothes off? So he used to take a bath naked, that same thing, okay? and they look at his private part. Ah, what a bad boys. One another. Moses, peace be upon him, however, he took a bath alone in privacy. And they said, by Allah, nothing forbids Moses to take a bath along with us, but he have a squirrel, arena. I don't know if I'm saying it right. Hernia. Yeah, you make fun of my English. You know what? There's one here. He make fun of my English. Honestly, this is a true story, by the way. He made fun of my English. He woke up in the morning, looked like me. Allah punished him. What a horrible punishment. You see what happened? Don't make fun of my English. So, scrotal. What the heck with this English? Scrotal hernia? Okay, forget it, whatever it is. Moses once went for a bath and placed his clothes on a stone. That's why I will never put my clothes on a stone. I put them on the floor. And the stone moved on with his clothes. Like, what the heck? And Moses ran after it, saying, "Oh, stone, oh, my clothes. Oh, stone, oh, my clothes." You know what? This reminds me of a guy I know. His wife, she took his money, you know, like she took his car and she took his credit card and she took the keys, and he was running after her in the street. He says, "Oh, my car, oh, my money, oh, my..." So unbelievable. I love it. I love it. I love it. So anyway, brother, sister, and look here, Moses, I mean, look, you are a man taking a bath alone. A stone is moving, running with your clothes. Shouldn't the guy first be astonished, like, what the heck? A stone is moving, running? Moses, he don't notice that. He's just like, my clothes, my wallet. You know, he's a Jew, man. What you expect? You Muslims, how come the guy was not saying, what the heck? A stone is running? How that can happen? I mean, which one is more important? What is more event happening now? The cloth or the stone is running? Imagine you go out in the desert or somewhere, and then the stone is running. So what you are worried about now is your wallet. Like, shouldn't you be like, what the heck? Like, you touch your eyes, you know, you clean them again. Are you like awake? Am I dreaming? No, Moses, like, it's at that time, brother, stones used to do that. They used to, at that time, this is the Uber stone, Uber stone, what they call it, Uber, taxi. So stones at that time, they make a corporation, it's called Uber. So then, brother, to make the story shorter, it's very short, by the way, the story. This is shorter than the life of Muhammad. So he said, "Oh, my clothes, oh, my stone." Thank God he don't have a phone at that time. He will make more drama. He will say, "Oh, my iPhone." And Banu Israel had the chance to see his what? Finally, look at this penis, brother. MashaAllah, MashaAllah. It was a lie, the rumors. Look at this. And he is wearing sunglasses too. So all this drama, the stone, and the funny, they say to you, that in the Bible, in the Old Testament, there's a prophet of God, he was naked in the desert. First of all, Abdul, in the desert, there's nobody. Secondly, he was not naked. A priest, he have Azhar. And this Azhar, or they say, it's like a uniform, you know, you wear in the top of your clothes when you perform your work. So when they want to humble themselves, they want to, like, not to be recognized between people, so people will not pay them respect, and, you know, they take off that uniform. That is the nakedness they are talking about. Here, this is real nakedness. The guy is wearing nothing. And it says here, they saw his private parts. By the way, how many he have? I mean, I'm wondering how, Moses, how many private parts you have? What does that mean exactly, Muslims? His private parts? Do you think he was because he was prophet, like he have two penises? 4 testicles, maybe? What do you mean his private parts? So, you know, Upar Stone, she took, you know, true story. This is true story. What's wrong with you people? And if you ask Zakir Naik, why Zakir Naik don't treat for those 10,000 people watching him, how amazing Prophet Muhammad, dignity and ethic and trustworthy and truth teller, storyteller. This is a true story. And then, by the way, when they say that the private part of Musa's, they are very nice, you know, look, and the stone stopped in the middle of the town. I mean, the stone, she even knew that she knew where to go. She did not go in the wrong direction where there's nobody. The stone, she's working for Allah. Allah over. So the stone, she took the clothes, and by the way, how come the clothes still stay still in the top of the rock and the rock is jumping? Do you think the rock should have a pocket? I mean, I cannot believe it that the guy, he put a clothing in the top of the rock, and now the rock is running, and yet the clothes did not fall down. What the heck is that? I need to think about it. You know? Stone is running. Boing, 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 boing. Boing, boing. And the clothes is still there. And the stone stopped in the middle of the downtown of the Jewish people. And then till Moses had seen by, look at this evil stone. Till, do you see the word till? The still here, tell the whole story. Many of you are not smart enough to notice how important this tell. I'm telling you, this is very important tell. So this tell here is telling us how telling Muhammad is. Tell. So the story keep going, tell. That's it. Like, this is the point. This is the edge. This is the target. This is where we want to be. Till Moses has been seen by them. So this stone, she was trying to be sure that every single one of them is seen Moses' private parts. Please, Christian Prince, down the page. Are you trying to see the private parts of Moses too? Shame on you. Don't you think? Okay, why you need to get your head down in the page when the guy is wearing nothing? I mean, I know that you do that if somebody wearing a skirt and you want to see you with your head down. Please, Christian Prince, bring the down page. You remind me of the Arab. They are watching a movie, and they were wondering what the woman she is wearing down there. So they put the TV in the top of a TV in the top of a TV, so they can see her, you know, down there. They thought if we put a TV on the top of the TV on top of TV, we can see the whole image together, you know. Anyway, true story, by the way, Sahih Bukhari. So stopped till Moses had been seen by them. And then he took hold of his clothes. Finally. Look, Moses is not an easy cookie. Don't ever play with Moses. It's time now to pay. So Moses, he then took hold of his clothing and he struck the stone. What the heck? He started beating the stone. And then Abu Hurairah, he said, by Allah, there are marks 6 or 7. Look, Abu Hurairah is not sure, to be honest with you. There are 6 or 7. I'm not sure, really. You know, like, to be honest with you, 6, 6, 7, 7, 10, 10, 9, 9. I mean, you see the honesty? Like, by Allah, the guy is swearing. It's serious, brother. But Abu Hurairah, you stupid. Like, how did you see the stone? If you're a prophet saying that to you, did your prophet see the stone? What do you mean by Allah? They are marks. I mean, this was a very bad beating, man. I mean, how How strong Moses was. And he struck the stone with what? Maybe his private part. Oh, Moses, you know, he have as a stick. And by the way, did the stone stole the Moses' stick too? I mean, don't tell me that Moses went to the water to take a bath with his staff. Sorry. Isn't it beautiful to learn the amazing knowledge of Prophet of Allah? And remember, the one who said this story is the messenger himself. So it must be a true story. And this is Sahih, authentic. So if those kuffar, they try to make fun of it, you laugh at them. And you tell them, long before today, Allah used to run Uber, stone Uber. Stone stole the clothes of the Prophet and his stick. Never trust a stone again. Never. And this is a very sad story, by the way. Imagine you're a prophet of God. And then Allah wanted you to run naked in front of everybody. Just to prove that you have a nice private parts. Yeah, Allah, can't you publish like a picture on Facebook? I mean, what this scandal is about? All of this to prove that he... What about making one person see him naked? Just one. I mean, do you need to make... And what about the children and the kids? I mean, this is the middle of the town. Oh boy. Anyway, don't forget to subscribe if you did not subscribe yet, and don't forget to unsubscribe if you are subscribed already, because according to Islam, if you subscribe to Christian Prince, Allah will take from you one deed, will take away from one deed. But if you unsubscribe, Allah will give you double deeds. So subscribe, unsubscribe, subscribe. By the end of the day, you will make millions deeds. And this is how you can beat Allah and his intelligence. Nobody can beat Allah Prophet. His story is true. His logic is amazing. And his Quran is beyond geography, astronomy, and stupidity. Did I say stupidity? No, I mean simplicity, sorry, you know? Yeah, I mean, come on, YouTube, Sharia law, they will go and say, did this guy, this is against our guideline, you are making fun of the Quran. Against our guideline. Give me a break with your guideline, you idiots. We laugh as we wish, and we expose the liars. What you can do about it. Thank you all for being here. Download the video, share it, and I hope you learned something good. And if you did not learn something good, I pray to Allah to make the stone carry on your clothes and run with it. And if it's not the stone can do that, your wife, trust me, they are very capable. They will take your wallet, they will take your car, they will take your house, they will take everything. Oh boy, did I say wife? I don't mean it. I take it back. Thank you all for being here. I hope you have a good time. And now we have an hour and 34 minutes. I think this is more than enough. This is very long, actually. I'm trying to make my video short. And as you notice, we have now videos for TikTok. They are less than 3 minutes. It's unbelievable. I broke the record. Yeah, I can do it. Look like I can. So don't think to download, share them with your friends, because this is the only way we can keep our videos up and people, they can learn. Always remember, if ever my channel is gone for some reason, and it might happen anytime, you can go always to Patreon, as you see in the screen, patreon.com/Christian Prince. We do not need even to make a donation or anything. We're not asking you for anything. we know that most of you are cheap. It's okay, it's okay, it's okay. And most of you, your wife, she took the wallet. And right now you are naked and you are chasing the stone. So we are not asking you to do anything. But this is where you can go and find me to find where my coming broadcast will be. And in the same time, I would like to invite you to join us in what is it called? TikTok. What a funny name, man. I mean, the owner of this program, we could not find better program, name to find. Call it Prophet Muhammad. Go to Stone. TikTok. Come on. So if you like to join us, this is my account in Tik and Talk. You can search for the Christian Prince, as you see on the screen. Right now we have 1,644 followers and 1,444 like. And this will remind me of the Philippines. I took the bus and the guy, he tell me, sir, I have to pay you back 44 pesos. I said to him, say it one more time and keep the money. So we have 1,044 like and 1,000. What is the miracle? This is a miracle, brother. 1644. 1444. What the 444? Brother, it must be a sign from Allah that we are blessed with many 4. And by the way, if you are like a person from Korea, they don't have a floor 4. So now Korean people will not subscribe to my channel because it have too many 4. And Chinese, they consider number 4, I think, for death, something like that. And you go in Korea, you go in the building, like floor number 3. Then like suddenly floor number 5. Like, what the heck? What is the floor number 4? You go in the stairs up, down again. What? Where is the floor number 4? Don't waste your time. There's no floor number 4. Unbelievable. Yeah, you would love to go and travel and see the world, You will learn a lot of things. Yeah, there's no floor number 4. You know what? I would love to rent a floor in Korea, which is a floor number 4, because it's not exist. Nobody will find you. You don't pay rent. It's going to be for free. Anyway, yeah, like, people who they are superstitions, this is one of the illness actually of society, is believing in those things and, taking them seriously, but what you can do, people, and we are here to fix it. So thank you again for being here. May the Lord bless you all. Remember, always you can find us on patreon.com/ChristianPrince. If you do not know how to find the website, which is patreon/ChristianPrince, then you will not be able to find me. Neither finding Allah. And the funny is, the people, they say to me, Christian Prince, how come we don't see you in that channel no more? Where are you? So why we have a banner there? It says patreon.com/Christian Prince. Isn't it obvious? And you don't know where to find me? It's in the front of you in every video. It's like having the address in the front of their eyes, and they say, where we can find him? I don't know, brother. What's wrong with you people? You became Abdul suddenly or what? All right, thank you all, love you all, and you hate me all, and I know it. Thank you very much. Take care.
So unfortunately, as you see, by the time
I mean, again, he doesn't know who Gabriel is, right? Because he didn't come from an Abrahamic faith. The people of Mecca were pagan.
Quran is mentioned, if this book was from other than God, they would have found in it many contradictions.
If a book is without contradictions, that has no bearing on whether it comes from God or not. I've had phone books that are inerrant, but I certainly don't think God gave them.
That we believe without understanding.
The brother asked a very important question, that most of the scholars say that listening to music, watching movies, and most of the television programs, they're haram. So how can we have fun? Let me tell you, brother, at the outset, that having fun is permitted in Islam as long as the fun is halal fun.
That the standard narrative has holes in it.
The Prophet tells us because Satan or the devil sleeps over our nostrils. Those who oversleep and not pray Fajr on time, Satan urinates in their ears.
I really do think Jesus was crucified and that he really was dead and buried. He thought that he was a son of God in the sense that he was specially chosen by God. I think Jesus really did think he was going to be the Messiah, the future king of Israel. I mean, that is, after all, why they crucified him.